Anything else? No, looks good. Alright. No, not... I did want to check the controls. Did not want to do that. Okay. Here we are. We were just about to learn something interesting when we got back to this. Looks like they arrived. Who arrived? The door opened. Yeah, 6 months in. Time to check the controls. The door opened, and Hachijo Toya appeared. What's going on? This isn't the world of witches, but the world of humans? I was sitting on a sofa, and Amakusa was behind me. There's no need to feel confused. Featherine and Hachijo Toya are the same being. To her, the difference between the two worlds is a trivial thing. To put it in the words of that theater lover, it's like having a slightly different background behind the stage. So there was no reason for me to feel hesitant. Should I call you Madam Hachijo this time? How complicated names are. Even though both of us are still here, just like before, you have to wonder what to call me. True, calling you Featherine would be a bit rude to you now. For an actor, the name for the role they act is only temporary. Precisely, child of man. Featherine? Amakusa's eyes went wide as he wondered what I was suddenly talking about. I ignored him and continued. So what are you going to show me? As I spoke, my eyes were caught by that heavy-looking object she held under her arm. At a glance, it looked like an encyclopedia with a fancy binding. Do you know what this is? A book? As Featherine spoke, she set the heavy object on the table. The first thing it reminded me of was a grimoire. The heavy book had a mysterious, mystical feel to it, like something Maria Onechan might carry around. And the most remarkable feature of it was the large, sturdy lock that held it shut. Why would someone go so far to keep people from reading a book? Well, a diary? Why don't you take it and observe the back? The back? I flipped the heavy book over on my lap, and as soon as I saw it, I gave a small gasp. Efa? Ushidomiya Efa? Without a doubt, those words were written there in Roman characters. Is it her diary? What is this? Aunt Eva's diary? Could this be that rumored... Do you know something about this? Just a rumor. They say that President Eva had a secret diary and that she always kept it locked up. They say she took it with her everywhere she went. At least that's what I heard from some of the other bodyguards. A secret diary? Why is that here? I was about to ask, why does she have it? It was in the hospital room where Shidomiya Eva passed away. This diary was hidden behind her bed, so it remained in that room for some time after her death before it was found. Then by coincidence, it was probably found by someone who worked for the hospital, or else a patient or their family. Of course, by that time, there was a huge movement dedicated to the Rokkanjima mystery, a locked diary found in the hospital room where Shidomiya Eva spent her last moments. It would be absolutely priceless. The discoverer probably handed it over in secret to one of the witch hunters who would be able to accurately determine its worth. Luckily, the witch hunters who got their hands on this book were all noble and upright people. Not content to gloriously destroy the lock and reveal the truth, they simply satisfied themselves with the fact that the truth of that day slumbered just on the other side of this mysterious lock. Really? I find that hard to believe that anybody who has been hunting this mystery for years and even dedicated their life to it in such a way that they call themselves witch hunters would actually, say, oh, it's locked, okay, I'm just gonna respect that and not force it open. But apparently that's how it goes. Thanks to that, Eva's diary has remained undamaged to this very day. Maybe they all have, a reputation that they don't want to lose. They don't want to be the one amongst the witch hunter circle who, just did something unspeakable. It's already known that Natsuhi, wife of Klaus, the oldest son of Kinzo, sealed up all of her complaints and repressed feelings by writing them down in a diary, which she treated like a sort of charm. So Aunt Eva did the same thing? It's possible, at least. Opening up a diary like this would be a pain, even if you did have a key. It's sealed up tight like a corset. Amakusa was right. This wasn't a diary made to be casually opened and reminisced over. It's probably safe to assume that she used this diary to forget things by writing them down and sealing them away just like Ushidomiya Natsuhi did. Then she brought it with her into the hospital room and hid it behind the bed without telling anyone about it. Don't tell me the diary is... Are you saying Aunt Eva wrote down what happened that day? By reading its contents, you will probably learn everything. However, we don't know where the key that unlocks it is. Yeah, we'll just get some tools and break it open. I jumped. Then I looked down at my chest. That's where my brother hung that key. Huh? It's gone. The key's gone. Yeah, well, I mean, they already told you that it's just a physical manifestation of your will to learn the truth or something along those lines. So, why would it be there in the real world? What's wrong, lady? What key? It's been hanging from my neck the whole time, hasn't it? I never noticed it. You had a key hanging from your neck? I understood almost immediately. In the world of humans, I haven't found the key. The me with the key is on the game board in the world of witches. Make me the me with the key. I'm going to unlock this diary. Featherine lifted a finger, spun it around in the world, twisted again. Oh, well, that's easy. Holy shit, just almost knocked my cell phone across the room. Okay. I'm just a bit confused because, like, didn't this entire scene start with, looks like they've arrived? Who is they? You know, I'm just gonna reload it real quick. Well, I'm just, looks like they've arrived. Who did that refer to? Bit confused about that. Not really important, just, I don't know. When I returned to Featherine's study, the key popped back into existence, hanging from my neck. But at the same time, the diary on my lap popped out of existence. Where'd the diary go? It should exist somewhere on the game board. Since it is one of the keyholes you are to be given, it must exist. Did Onicha hide it somewhere? Since Batla wants this to be a game between you and him, it probably isn't hidden completely. What do you mean? Even if Batla thinks of the diary as a king he mustn't lose, there would be no game unless it exists somewhere on this board. In other words, it's somewhere in the Yoshidomiya mansion. Or you may already have been given an opportunity to witness it, like how a swindler has already hidden the trap in microscopic letters on the first page of a contract you sign. If Batla follows the customs of the mystery genre as the game master, clues must be shown. Have we been shown anything? Other than... I mean, we got all the medals, but you could also fail at that and not get any. Maybe it's on the almond. So the choice that leads to Batla's defeat must have been shown. Angie, try and remember. You should have seen Eva's diary in Batla's world already. Does anyone have any ideas? Have we seen anything? Hold on. At the very beginning, wasn't there a book lying in the chapel? And she asked him about it, and he was like, don't touch that. That might be it. In that instant, from the back of my mind, drifted the very first scene of this final game. See? There you go. In the chapel, a book was lying on the altar, a book with a lock on it. As soon as I showed interest in that book, my brother suddenly grew stern and told me not to touch it. That was Aunt Eva's diary. That's right, Yoshidomiya Eva's diary, the book of the single truth, with the truths of that day written inside it. The book of the single truth. Yeah, this time I'm actually glad that I remembered it, or like, talked about it before the text said the exact same thing after just one more click. Is the truth really inside it? After all, there's a chance that it's just something Aunt Eva... I'll say it in red. Yoshidomiya Eva's diary, the book of the single truth, has the truth of Rock Kanjima during October 4th and 5th, 1986, recorded within it. Oh? Everyone's still having fun there. The discussions over Ben Castle's reasoning game were getting passionate at each of the tables. At some point, each table had started competing to see which could solve it first. Bancastle, haven't Angie and Erica arrived yet? They should have been here by now. Wanna make a bet on who arrives first? I can understand Erica being late, but what about Angie? Just what kind of pit did you toss her into this time? How rude. She's sitting on a sofa sipping tea. Hopefully the sort of tea you drink suits Angie's tastes. Good point. How rude. The tea would suit anyone's taste. Erica would even lick the last drop of my tea from the bottom of a miso pot. I can see Erica, doing a lot of things like that. Now part of me is dying to ask how miso comes into this picture. Still, it's Erica. This will be a long-awaited reunion. I think long-awaited are the last words I would have chosen for that. That's right, come to think of it, can't wait to see how long it'll take her to solve Bancastle's game. This sort of game is what that kid is best at. She'd probably read it from start to finish 3 times, then just say the answer right away. Probably. I look forward to seeing her give the correct answer immediately with that smug look on her face. Come now, this is Erica we're talking about. She'd probably pull out some twisted logic and say that it was possible for someone other than Battler's family. Good point. In fact, I'd like to hear her proud twisted logic even more than the right answer. Yeah, I mean, she already did that. Apparently Battler and Beato were looking forward to their reunion with Erica. They had already dueled with Erica in 2 separate games, but now there was no distinction between foes and allies. They truly wanted to welcome her to this party after the show as a friend. You know, after the whole thing with the ring, I would never welcome somebody like that. But I mean, not the first time we are shown that Battler is just too naive. Still is a bit unexpected. What is? You know, it's surprising that it let Angie go this easily. Making sure that Battler and the others couldn't see her face, Lambda Delta sniggered. Is it really so surprising? Of course it is. I thought that being you torture Battler with one tough puzzle after another before releasing her. Or that you'd at least try to give Angie some weird ideas and have her turn the game around in the end. Well, you might actually be right about that. And I thought I knew you better than anyone else in the world, so embarrassing that I was wrong. I'm sure it is, but don't worry. You obviously do know me better than anyone else in the world. Yeah, of course. After all, I love, adore, and understand you more than any other person in the universe. Lambda Delta was flustered by Bancastle's apparently friendly words, which were very rare coming from her. Battler-sama, pardon me for interrupting your conversation. Angie-sama has returned. Oh, she's back? Great. So, is she okay? It seems that she was soaked by the rain, but Kumasa is bringing her a towel now. When Battler heard this, he breathed a sigh of relief. Then he turned to face Bancastle, showing her a forced smile as though apologizing for still suspecting her just a little. Bancastle showed no reaction and simply continued to wear a blank expression with a slight smile. Angie-sama has returned. I'm back. Battler, Angie's back. Angie, I'm glad you're okay. I was worried. She stared at Battler as he dashed towards her with a relieved smile. Angie's expression seemed somehow indifferent. That Battler, it looks like he thought I had you hanging by chains in a cave or something. But no, I didn't think you'd go that far. I was just having some tea at the house of one of Bancastle's friends. It was delicious. Did it have dried plums or miso in it? Of course not. As Angie spoke bluntly, she walked right past her brother and exchanged a few whispered words with Bancastle. What is it, Battler? Huh? Oh, nothing at all. If he said he was lonely because his little sister was being so cold, Beato would either laugh at him or scratch him. After all, Angie was a girl at that age. She might be in a bad mood for reasons a boy like him couldn't understand. Taking note of this and having satisfied himself that Angie was okay, he made to walk away. Battler, Angie is calling for you. Huh? Oh, sorry. I've been trying to get your attention for a while. Don't ignore me. I wasn't really ignoring you. What's going on with you anyway? You've looked like you were in a bad mood for a while now. I imagine Bancastle gave her something strange to drink and pretended it was just some rare sort of black tea. I have no business with you. Back off for a bit, would you? I want to talk to Oni-chan alone. Come, I may not look it, but I am the wife of the territory lord. I'm already far closer to Betla than... Sorry, Beato, would you mind leaving for just a bit? By now, Betla realized that Angie's issue was more than just a slight bad mood. Beato puffed out her cheeks as though she wanted her to say something more. However, she just let it out with a sigh and walked away. She's gonna be like, I want to go to the chapel now. Is this okay? It is. After all, this game is between me and you, right? I'm the player. You're the game master. No matter how many pieces get between us, in the end, it's still a direct battle between you and me. Well, it's true that I'm the game master, but it's not like I'm fighting against you or anything. This final game was held so you could be invited to the Rock Kojima of 1986. Games are played to decide who wins and who loses. There can be no game unless you have foes and allies. Don't try to trick me. What are you talking about all of a sudden? You had me totally fooled. At first I actually thought you'd take me to that day in 1986, but that wasn't true. This has all been a farce you created, hasn't it? You're using this sentimental tale to dodge the issue and leave me confused. You're trying to chase me out into a lonely future with nothing but this cheap happiness as a party gift. There's just one thing I've been after since the beginning. What happened on Lord Kojima that day? And the only answer you gave me was this game. This sentimental party of illusions. It's obvious how you're going to try and answer my question now. I want the truth, and you aren't going to give it to me. Angel, listen, you've got it wrong. Don't try and trick me. This game is the final fight between me and you. I want the truth of that day, and you're trying to hide it behind an illusion. It's exactly the same. The setup is no different than those fights between you and Beato. I was about to be chased out of the game world with everything still vague and fuzzy because of you. Well, sorry, but I've already figured out that this game is a battle. Don't think you'll trick me so easily anymore. Uh-oh. Angie's shout tore apart the peaceful atmosphere. The family members and Illusions gulped and watched the scene, wondering what was going on. Beato tried to run up to Betla, but he motioned for her to stay back. What is it you want? There's only one thing I've ever wanted. Yeah, what stupid question is that? The truth of Rock Kojima in 1986. That's all I'm looking for. The truth is sealed within the cat box. It can be reached by someone outside the cat box like you. Is that why you're trying to trick me with this sentimental illusion? Yes, this is an illusion. However, I wanted you to remember this fun atmosphere, the harmony within your family. It's not about what happened on that island that day. I wanted you to remember the warmth of these family conferences, the warmth you forgot. It's just an illusion you're trying to impose on me. I'll reject it and deny it completely. There is no truth of 1986. The cat box is empty inside. You're looking for something that doesn't exist. I won't be tricked anymore. The truth of that day does exist. It was written down by the sole survivor and preserved to this very day. Bella's expression faltered for just an instant, and Angie didn't miss it. So he was hiding it after all. Oni-chan has been hiding the book of the single truth from me. Aunt Eva, for this first time since your death, I'd like to express my gratitude. Because you wrote down what happened that day, you gave me one last chance at learning the truth. Angie, you have to listen to me. Everything I wrote in that diary is nonsense, and it doesn't mean... There's no point trying to deceive me. It's already been proven and read that your diary has the truth of that day in it. Absurd. How could anyone but Battler, the Game Master, use the red truth? It's Aurora, isn't it? That's right. The Book of the Single Truth exists in 1998, the world of the future. Who else could perform the crucial role of confirming its contents with the red truth? I heard everything from Band Festival. I've been fooled by you long enough. I don't want some sentimental illusion. I want to do the truth. And no matter how hard you try to cover it up in 1986, I can expose it in 1998. After all, you are the Beatrice of 1986, Oni-chan, and I am the Beatrice of 1998. A cyclone rose up around Angie. It was a golden swirl of gold butterflies, just like the Golden Witch Beatrice. I am Angie Beatrice of 1998, the final Golden Witch. No witch of the past can defeat the witch of the future. The cyclone of gold broke apart, and as gold leaves scattered across the room, the final witch who would inherit Beatrice's name in the future appeared. Angie Beatrice. You're the golden and endless witch, but I'm different. I'm the golden witch of truth. No illusion can stand in my way. Yes, this is the end of Oni-chan's boring party. Now it's time for my party to start. I've even readied a game to liven things up. You're up, Aunt Eva. Huh? When Angie snapped her fingers, she vanished along with a swirl of gold butterflies. Replacing her in the middle of that cyclone was a girl wearing a dress, bowing modestly. Oh. Huh. You? That's pretty rude, you know. Inviting everyone to the party except me. You're Eva. The sole survivor of Rokkanjima and the witch of the future, the golden and endless witch from 1986 to 1998. In the world of the future, Batlakun's sentimental illusion is more fragile than a flake of snow on a lake. Okay, let's have some fun. Come try to remember, all of you. Remember your endless theory making. When Eva held her hand to the heavens, light gathered there and took the form of a bottle. Yes, a bottle. A glass bottle with no label. There was no alcohol inside. Sealed within it was a fragment that let off a pale, sinister light. Battler, this is bad. She must not smash that bottle. Well, I guess that's too late already. Okay, it's showtime. The bottle was slammed against the floor and smashed to pieces. As soon as the fragment within it touched the outside air, it flashed white and burst. At first it seemed that nothing had happened. However, Eva grinned at them before becoming a cloud of butterflies and vanishing. At some point, Bernkastel must have vanished as well. What did she do? It was probably a fragment she brought back with her from the world of the future. Perhaps we could call it the contents of the cat box in the future. What does all this mean? What? At that moment, they heard a thundering roar. It was as though large chunks of hail had started falling everywhere. An earthquake accompanied that noise, and the whole mansion creaked. Dust began to fall from the ceiling. At the same time, it seemed as though the curtain-covered window glowed with a pale light. What on earth is going on? Kyria, look outside. What the hell is that? Everyone rushed to the window in response to her voice. Of course, Battler and Beato went too. Then they drew the curtains, looked at the scene outside, and were stunned into silence. How beautiful. Kinzel's words, oh, how beautiful. Kinzel's words echoed the first impression felt by all who looked out at the scene beyond the windows. Not all beauty is benign. They always say that beauty has thorns, yeah? Though everyone found the scene beautiful, they all sensed impending misfortune from it. Outside the window, countless small objects, pale glowing fragments of crystals, lay strewn about everywhere like fallen hail. The word fantastic perfectly summed up the scene that lay before them in the glowing rose garden. I saw something move over there. Hey, is there someone over there? Wait, huh? A person just grew out of that glowing fragment. 7 Sisters of Purgatory, battle formation. With those words of Lucifer's, everyone finally realized that they were being surrounded by danger. Oh. One by one, the countless fragments shook and burst, and large dark bodies rose up from inside each. They were giants with goat heads. One after another, they appeared from the insides of broken fragments. Those fragments lay all over the rose garden in vast numbers and made the ground glow, so that everyone was forced to shudder. 45 white area surveillance. My radar is filled with white. We're either being jammed or the vast number of readings is making a count of any enemy numbers impossible. Even as she said this, the glowing rose garden outside the window was being filled with giant goats. The fragments carrying the goats weren't just in the rose garden. They were spread evenly across the entire island. Not just the rose garden, but the entire area around the mansion was being covered with goats by now. Allow us to speak. Know that we are completely surrounded. Yeah, we noticed. Will you do now, Battler? Only one thing to do with uninvited guests. Let's chase them off. Who are these people? I'm guessing these aren't your minions, right, Beato? The goat forms they hold are probably just imitations of the pieces on this game board. They aren't Regis or Leah's minions. This is something worse. I see. So they are manifestations of message bottles. Message bottles? The ones Beato made? Not quite. These are fragments of what people in the future have imagined. Endless possibilities are hidden within the cat box. Because of that, those outside the box can imagine the insides to be any one of an infinite number of things. It would seem those endless delusions are the true form of these creatures. What will those ghosts do to us, I wonder? It doesn't look like they're here to give us a handshake and a pat on the back. Those people, those lowlifes making up and passing around stories, imagining the tragedies that might have unfolded around us on this island. They found it so fascinating that I never talked about the truth, that they kept on creating tragedies one after another for their own enjoyment. I see. So they're fragments from the future, imagining the catbox of 1986 however they please. In the world of the future, any and all interpretations can and do exist. Unless we deny them, everyone will be able to claim that their own view is the truth, and they will remain on this island. Not sure that's the right time for laughter. What a fix we're in. Looks like we're surrounded and fighting for our lives. What are they doing? They're eating. They're eating something. They're eating the roses. The crowd of goats was squirming about and doing something. If you look closely, you could see them sticking their heads into the rose bushes and munching away. And it wasn't just rose bushes. Light poles, the bricks of the flower beds, and even the stone paving itself, they were biting all of it, almost as if they were trying to eat up the whole island. No. They aren't just eating. If they are eating, what are they doing? That is not eating. They are eroding it, shaving away at the edges of the game board itself. They're eating the game board? In the world of the future, everyone believes we were swallowed up by tragedy today. That's why they won't accept the truth, where we enjoy ourselves in peace. Truth of the past is subordinate to truth of the future. The merciless future fangs and jaws of those ghosts refuse to accept our truth and are eroding it, replacing it with the kind of truth they expect. Damn it, this is our truth. This is our truth. It's not for those people in the future who have nothing to do with us anyway to rewrite as they please. The garden outside the window was now filled with too many goats to count, all chewing away. This repulsive scene stole the words from everyone's lips. They weren't stunned into silence. There was just no point in making a fuss and letting the goats know a certain fact. No point in letting them know that there was plenty of prey waiting in this bright warm room. Prey that was softer and easier to chew than roses or bricks.
Let go there. He's looking at us.
Silence, don't make a fuss. It's coming this way. Dear me, this does not look good. Why do the goats have cat eyes now? They saw one of the newly born goats head slowly towards their window. There was already a huge swarm of them in the garden, though it was no surprise that when one of them looked around for new prey, it would see the light from its window. Its immense, eerie body slowly approached. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. As it grew closer, they could finally see it clearly. The eyes blazed, despite being cold, ruthless, and reptilian. Those cruel fangs and jaws could tear apart and crush anything. Any fangs that could chew through brick would hardly have a problem chewing through humans. Its massive body had to be taller than the windows themselves. And it was lumbering towards this window. If only this window was made of special Ushidomiya bulletproof glass. I doubt even bulletproof glass would stop that thing. Whoa, it's coming, it's running towards us. Oh? Allow me to speak. Know that this window shall not be breached. The power of Cornelia's seal formed a shield around the glass. The goat was blown back, unable even to touch the glass because of this power. Music is going crazy. Its weight made the earth tremble. They could feel that clearly even inside. But that tremor had also drawn the attention of the nearby goats. A pack of goats started shuffling towards them, and a fight broke out as they each charged forward, trying to reach this new prey first. The window protected by Cornelia's seal would probably be safe. However, there were many windows in the Great Hall. For the first time, those windows became a source of terror instead of sunlight and a lovely view. Get through there. Allow me to speak. Know that this window shall not be breached. Getruda sealed another window. The goats trying to break in through that one were were thrown back. But at the same time, they heard the crash of yet another window being smashed. Scattering fragments of glass everywhere, the massive goats broke through the window frame and entered the building. Goodbye, Goda. Whoa!
Stay back, everyone, stay back.
On the first twilight, the 6 chosen by the key. Those words really were coming from the goat's mouth, along with the steaming, foul breath. However, I didn't get a chance to say any more. Forehead, neck, shoulder, chest, side, gut, knee. The stakes of the 7 sisters buried themselves in deep, one after another. What rough, unappetizing flesh for piercing! I'd hate to have to gobble up any more of these. Well, I think you will have to. The other windows shattered, one after another, and several goats squeezed their way in through the window frames. Their mouths were still stuffed with the bricks they had just been snacking on. Each time they chewed, it made a ghastly sound, like bones being crushed. We will repel them. Sister troops, prepare for close-range combat. Stop. You start firing away and we'll have all the other goats coming to join the party. Let's fall back to the 2nd floor. If we can seal the staircase, that'll buy us some time. Everyone upstairs. Hurry. After sniffing noisily as though scanning the smells around them, the goats started chewing on whatever chairs, tables, and curtains were close by. The goats would chew anything to bits as long as it was near them. If the others were careful not to attract the goats' attention, they would be able to escape from this place. The humans ran on ahead, up to the 2nd floor, while the illusions who were used to fighting guarded the rear. The goats were completely absorbed by their feast on everything in the hall. By now they were even brutally chewing away at the portrait of Beatrice, which could fairly be called a symbol of the Pseudomia family itself. Battler, the humans have all taken refuge on the 2nd floor. Good. Lanner, seal all the staircases. Gertrude and Cornelia will handle it. However, they need more time. All over the mansion there were loud beating sounds, what might be called knocks, and the sound of shattering glass. Well now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for work. 7 Sisters of Purgatory, right here. Let's go, you low lives. Tonight it's all you can eat. Sister troops, halt all external tasks. Cancel automatic updates. Accept no data. Take no prisoners. Eisner Jungfrau of the 7th District. By the Territory Lord's order, carry out your duty. I'll lend a hand. Leon, you're in the way. Go up to the 2nd floor. But Will, leave this to us and go. You have your own job to do. Protect your family. I understand. Everyone stay safe. The mansion was filled with the sound of knocking, crushing, smashing, and chewing. The goats and their wave of destruction was drawing steadily closer. Lord Battler, Gertrude and Cornelia have finished sealing the other staircases. The large staircase here is the only one that remains. The other staircases are tiny, so they went fast. On the other hand, this staircase is huge. It looks like you have your hands full finding time. Lambda Delta spoke as though it was someone else's problem. It only took a glance at her face to see that she had no intention of lending a hand. Even so, Beato didn't scold her. This was a game between Battler and Angie. Lambda Delta was only a theater goer who had been invited. Don't think badly of me. Even I'd die if I was torn apart by nothingness. Sorry, but I think I'll stick to being an observer. That's what you've always been. Though it is a shame that we can't ask for your help. She's being nice. Doesn't want to steal our show. Sure, let's call it that. As a Voyager witch, Lambda Delta could retreat from this game board of battlers if she wanted to. In other words, she was the only one who wasn't in trouble now. See you later. I think I'll watch this game between you and Bear till the end. I'll be rooting for you. As you munch on popcorn. Of course. I think I'll have some soy sauce butter flavor today. Lambda Delta vanished with a pop. As soon as she did, a black hole opened up in midair and Gob fell out of it. Battler Reese, you come here for a second. You should probably see this. Right now? Yes. Let's go. Everyone were counting on you to hold this position. When Gob snapped her fingers, a large hole opened up under Battler and Beato, swallowing them both. They were spat out into an inky blackness. Both of them were floating in the night sky. Rock and Jima lay far beneath them. And as soon as they realized this, they shuddered. It's not just a crowd. It's a sea. It was no longer a crowd of goats, but an entire sea of them. Just as Rock Kadima poked out from the ocean, the mansion was now poking out from a sea of goats.
People in the future really are amazing. Just how many of them have imagined the tragedy of this island?
Nothing more than the worthless dribble of us outside the cat box. Let's clean this place up. Look over there. It's hard to tell, but look at the shoreline. The shoreline? It's easy to make out the harbor. Look closely. See it? So don't tell me. Yeah, you're probably right. They're eating it. Eating the whole island.
Now, try to remember fragments from the future. If only you just chew up all the embellishment, all the illusions, all the fantasy.
As if I yelled this to the heavens, hovering above the raging sea, hail fell down with a pale glow. Each was an unlabeled bottle with a fragment inside. They poured onto the island and were smashed to bits, and the fragments inside them scattered everywhere. Every now and then the fragments would split in two, then split in two again, and every single one of them burst and gave birth to a massive goat. Yeah, I don't see this ending well for Battler and Co. To say it was like bamboo shoots springing up after the rain would be a vast understatement. The goats writhed about like bubbling, boiling water in a pot. They ate away at everything they saw. They didn't just eat the harbor, but the trees and rocks, the entire coastline itself. Hundreds, thousands, no, tens of thousands of goats continued to eat. They were chewing away at every bit of Rock Kojima, of this final game that Battler had prepared.
Too bad, Battler-kun. The future wants a tragedy on this island. Even Angie wants the truth. Don't worry, we'll chew up all the embellishment, illusions, and fantasy for you.
But now Battler and the others had to admit it. The future wanted a tragedy. Even if the truth of this island had been a gentle, peaceful thing, the future didn't want that. The truth they wanted was painting over the past.
The past is such a fragile thing. Even the cat box is being chewed apart.
Just who are these people? Are they really so determined to plunge us into a tragedy?
That's all I wanted to show you. Hope this helps a bit when you're making strategic decisions.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you could come up with any strategic decisions after seeing that. Yeah, thanks. Now I feel like crap.
Then let's go to the study next if you don't mind. Goldsmith wants to talk to you.
Gob snapped her fingers and another black hole swallowed them up and spat them out in the study.
Oh, Gob, if you're gonna drop me, at least do it on a bed.
Grandfather, we're in trouble. There's absolutely nowhere left to go.
I know. And even waiting out the storm from here is not an option.
Renova and the others should be able to buy us some time, but that's all.
If they just holed up in the mansion, it would only be a matter of time before the swarm of goats got them. Trying to repel a few of the goats barging into the mansion would be like using a cup to bail water from a boat with a hole in it.
We can fight defensively for a while, but it's only a matter of time.
We need to think of something while we fight. Can we escape? Where to? Is there any way for us to leave the game board?
The outside of the game board is beyond the range of our territory. Only a Voyager which could leave.
Only Bancastle and Lambda Delta could do it. However, there was no way Bancastle would help. Even Lambda Delta had already announced that she would be an observer instead of lending a hand. So there's nowhere left to run. Yeah. Like, literally. I mean, there will be literally nowhere left to run in a few hours, I guess.
No, there's just one place.
Where?
The Golden Land.
I see. Is that our only option now?
Indeed. The Golden Land is the most impenetrable place. Impenetrable place on this game board. If we wish to escape, it's that or nothing.
These things are eating the cat box itself. For all we know, they might start chewing away at the Golden Land itself at any moment. What should we do, Battler?
No point thinking about it. We're retreating. If we take too long to make a decision, even that road will be closed to us. Evacuate everyone. How can we open the door to the Golden Land?
I just have to open it. However, an immense wave of the anti-magic toxin is emanating from that crowd of goats. It will take some time to open the door.
So we've only got to protect the study with our lives until the door is open. We just have to keep doing what we've been doing.
There's one more problem. The door to the Golden Land cannot be shut unless two people close it from the outside.
Two from the outside? What do you mean? As soon as he said this, Bella realized this must be the result of some agreement made between the three witches who are one. Normally, there's no need to go to the trouble of shutting the door, but it won't be so easy this time. What do you mean, the three witches who are one? Not sure how to interpret that. It's probably one of those things that I'm supposed to already understand, but I'm not getting it. Normally there's no need to go to the trouble of shutting the door, but it won't be so easy this time.
Only you and Beato can fulfill the role of shutting the door.
Me as the territory lord and Beato. Yeah, it sounds like the safest choice. Indeed, if it's just the two of us, we might even be able to protect ourselves. Okay, open the door. Beato waved her pipe, leaving a golden trail behind us. She sliced the air vertically. I'm really hung up a bit now on this whole three witches who are one thing. What am I... Who is she? Who is three witches who should be one? I'm not... Yeah, I don't know. Probably not even as important as I make it out to be. It's just annoying me now that I cannot think of anything. Beata waved her pipe, leaving a golden trail behind as she sliced the air vertically. Then the gap of the door to the golden land appeared. It looked like nothing more than a thin golden string hanging from the ceiling. If you looked closely, you could see that the string was getting thicker very slowly. The door to the golden land certainly was opening, but so slowly that you couldn't even tell if you weren't careful. At this rate, it would probably take quite some time before it grew big enough to let a person through. Grandfather, God, we'll need you to be our inner line of defense. Yes, there may be ghosts climbing up the outer walls.
Very well. My rifle hungers for some prey.
Understood. It'll be fun dropping those things into the abyss. This is a good setting for a tower defense game. True. A giant was sliced at an angle, split into two parts, and fell to the floor, showering it with filthy dark blood and guts. Splendidly done.
I'll let you take the next one.
Countless massive goats, which had forced their way in from rooms and windows all across the mansion, wandered about in search of something to chew. Several of the goats noticed the group of people huddled around the staircase and lumbered closer, but they were pulverized by merciless attacks. Ronald's shields easily halted the charging goats, and Virgilia's magic spears were pinning the giants against the walls. Leonard's and Will's blades were also slicing easily through goats. The pinpoint strikes of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory could pierce the vitals off and finish off any opponent, no matter how large. The Cheester sisters were holding their own too. They had blasted enough goats to bits with one shot from their high-caliber firearms that you couldn't count the kills with both hands. Given a limited number of opponents, there were more than a match for these goats. However, they weren't just up against a crowd, but an entire ocean. It was like a pebble trying to face the approaching waves of a stormy sea. Hurry on that gun barrel replacement, requesting cover from Purgatory troops. So you run out of ammo and you're nothing but rabbits. Lame. I don't want to hear that from a bunch of 7 paperweights who can only kill one person at a time. Yeah, keep them coming. Don't let us get bored. The hall was filled with massive goat corpses. As if in fear of the sight, the goats that came in one after another formed a wall, keeping their distance. Perhaps they think they're no match for us. I wish that were true, but it seems to be a little more than wishful thinking. What are those guys doing? They're looking at us and whispering to each other. Apparently they have the intelligence to talk together and cooperate. Well, that can't be good. The goats surrounded them at a distance, whispering, and they nodded at each other as though deciding something, and the whole group stirred. What are they doing? It almost looks like they're lining up in a different order. Yeah, the music is crazy.
The enemy is changing its formation. It appears that the individuals with greater destructive power are being gathered in the front lines.
So what? Let's go.
Yes,
Wait, something's wrong. Lucifer took aim at one of them, going for its forehead. The other 6 sisters followed her lead, trying to pierce the vital organs all over the creature's body. However, there was no sound of pierced flesh. The 7 sisters of Purgatory were knocked back, unable to cause even the smallest wound.
What? What just happened?
Those guys are talking about something. The goats kept whispering the same thing over and over as they slowly approached the 7 sisters. All of them whispered unanimously. Man. All fantasy is fictional. The 7 sisters of Purgatory are illusions, personifying stakes for ceremonial sacrifices. They're actually paperweights. As they whispered curses that denied the 7 sisters' existence, the goats lumbered closer.
Get back, Purgatory troops. We'll cover you.
It's time you learned a lesson, goats. The golden bows of the Chester troops rolled down the wall of goats with a shower of bright golden bullets. Some of the goats were torn to pieces, but some of them seemed completely unaffected. Then the goats who were uninjured, all whispered as one. The Chester sisters Imperial Guards have Maria's rabbit dolls as their vessels. Oh, so now we're actually getting told exactly what we probably should already know. I somehow failed to realize this myself until Aaron gave me kind of a hint. But that is actually why, where are they? There. Why one of them, is she gonna appear or not? You know, there was one of them that was broken, and Rosa broke one of her rabbit pieces in episode 4, I think. So that's the explanation of that. They're actually rabbit dolls, Maria's imagination, fantasy, fictional beings. All of the crimes can be explained by mystery. All fantasy is irrelevant. Looks like we've got lots of people who won't accept the existence of magic. And that means no magical attacks will have any effects on them. That's not the right moment to smile for you, but okay. Does that mean all of our attacks will be completely useless? Endless 9, yeah. If they don't accept that we exist, our attacks can't hurt them. Is that possible? We'll have to test it. Renault stepped forward, stamped on the floor twice, and a red barrier rose up in front of him. The crowd of goats dashed into it with a terrifying force, while some goats were blown away by it. Several of them slipped right through the magical barrier. Renault is a creature of magic, a creature of fiction. Genji is Renault's vessel. He's an imaginary version of Genji. Oh, I see, so even my attacks will not affect some of them. There was no longer any point in Vigilia trying out her magic spear. Now that some of the goats had decided that her existence was fictional, she could no longer hurt them. Even these great demons and great witches, as well as high-level furniture and weapons, were overcome with fear of the crowd that surrounded them, a crowd that would not be affected by any of their attacks.
What are we going to do?
We'll keep fighting until the end. We don't have permission to die in battle. Fantasy is all fiction. Fantasy is all fiction. Fantasy is all fiction. A shriek from one of the goats became a signal for the wall of them to break. They pushed forward with gaping mouths and foul breath, each trying to reach their prey first, trying to return these fictional creatures to nothingness.
Look out!
Virgilia leapt in front of and held several of the 7 sisters who had fallen on their butts, overpowered by the ferocity of the approaching goats. However, even Virgilia was a fictional creature to these goats. They could chew through her like cotton candy. Madam, quickly. Renault threw himself at the oncoming goats. Even he would be chewed apart easily. Knowing this, Renault leapt forward. Even my magic no longer functions. I am still the fiercely passionate and loyal man I always was. And furthermore, did you expect that I would simply sit by and watch a lady die?
Renov is fantasy. Renov is fantasy.
Renov slammed his right fist into the side of the goat's face. As soon as he pulled it back, he swung his left leg into the goat's gut, then spun around into a reverse roundhouse that caught the goat again. Renov knew he could do less damage than a mosquito bite against those who didn't accept his existence. This was the height of anti-magic defensive power, endless 9. Renov is fantasy, a fiction, an illusion. The goat swung its long-like fist with a sound like a storm. Renov dodged by a hair. Had he been an instant slower, that massive arm would have crushed his head like glass.
Renov, stop this round.
Oh, Renov, cannot help but rise to the challenge when I see a lady in a pinch, a bad habit of mine. Renov grinned and tried to act tough. He had already sacrificed all he had. There was nothing he could do here and now except become a shield to buy time. He had already chosen to abandon his life for this. Renov is fantasy. He couldn't exist. He couldn't possibly exist. Illusions do not exist. They do not exist. Fantasy is all ridiculous. Ridiculous. The goats kept coming, trying to feast on Renov. None had any pretensions of making this a one-on-one fight. Nothing mattered except chewing apart fantasy, even just a nibble. As they gnashed those ruthless jaws and fangs, they crouched in around Renov. Renov's foot hit something and he stumbled. At the same instant, several massive arms reached out and lifted him up.
Renov-sama, what are you doing? She's still shoot down.
If I had to do anything, we would have done it already.
Everyone please stand back.
I should be able to buy you some time as they savor my... Oh, that's Renov. I should be able to buy you some time as they savor my flesh. However, I think they'll find that Renov has quite a few little bones in him. An elbow rammed itself into the massive, hideous jaws that were trying to chew Renov's head. Of course, the goat did moan, but that did nothing but deprive just one goat of his right to the first bite of Renov's head. Many jaws opened wide, trying to crush him and throw him down into those heartless stomachs which would permit no cheerful illusions to exist. I won't accept fantasy, won't accept. It's possible to explain everything with mystery, possible. Fantasy is fake, everything is mystery.